What's up everyone, it's Joey, Blush Response, and today we're checking out the Modal Argon 8X. Let's get right into it. Before we get started, I have a bit of an announcement. I have some new shirts available now. I'm wearing one. Here they are. This is the Morphic Polymer shirt. It just arrived today. There have been some pre-orders, so they're going to be going out early next week. If you haven't gotten yours yet, check out the link on my Bandcamp. Bulma approves. All right, so we got the Modal Argon 8X here. I have the 61 key version. There's a desktop version, also a smaller keyboard. Let's get right into it. What's it about? You got two wavetable oscillators. You got a resonant filter with the standard types, low pass, high pass, band pass, and notch. You have oscillator, wave modifiers like sync, phase modulation, etc., and sorts of bit crushing and de-res stuff you could do in the oscillator section in static modes. And you have a nice comprehensive effects section, a distortion, two envelopes with a third mod envelope, and two LFOs and a modulation matrix. Let's hear it. First, I'm going to play you some presets I've made. Now, one thing you're going to notice about the synthesizer when you get it is that it's even in the manual. It has a limiter built in on the master output. So no matter what you do, you're always going through this limiter. I think this is a ridiculous decision. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. You should be able to disable this because there are moments when you want extreme dynamic gain changes, and the fact that you can't do that is very strange. And you'll often have many moments where you're editing and it feels like everything is just far too quiet all of a sudden when you've tweaked one parameter, and it's because that limiter is affecting it all. There should just be one limiter, on or off. Put it in the menu, please. But anyway, I really like the core sound. Just kind of a basic phased out, flanged out pad I made. And for those of you on my Patreon, I'm going to include these few patches I've made within the sample pack. So if you have one of these or get one of these, you can play with those patches. Here's an arpeggio I made. I really love the sound of that. Tremolo pad. Oh, you got to click to load. Nice little pad, tin resonance. This is a really strange one I made with the delay feedback, which I think just gives this, well, you can hear it. And as you increase LFO depth, it's a lot of fun, that one. This is one of these patches I could just play this forever. I don't need to record it. I'm just gonna play it. It's meditative, it's fun. And I actually did end up using it on a remix last week. I've just made these couple patches, so I think it's cool. Here's one. This kind of like a basic arpeggio patch I'm going to use for the demo here. So we're going to note hold. You do that by holding velocity and then pressing note. Now you're in hold. Now I can show you sort of the different stuff. So you have two oscillators. There's a crossfader mixer between the two. You have different waves. They go through a distortion, and there's also sort of oscillator modulation elements you can add. Let's pull those up on the menu. Basically, you go down here, and you see there's these wave mods. You have all sorts of things. See, we're on a sine wave. The menu navigation is a little weird, clicking between the two encoders. Sometimes you just kind of do the wrong thing. But you can do DRes 2, 3, crushing, resampling, simplifying, rectifying, folding, shaping. These are static effects, so you can't modulate these, you just put them on. It's a cool way to get a little bit of variation in the wavetables. But then what you also have, I'm going to just take those off. I'm going to select another wave from a different bank. Fold 3, for example. You can see a lot of controls have a shift layer to them. So you press shift, you're editing the wave bank. Turn off shift, you're editing the wave shape. Cool, handy. Sometimes also confusing because you can forget that shift is on. I've done it a million times now. So I'll bring the mix in. Oscillator 2, like here. We'll detune oscillator 2. We'll bring up the amp release. I have this as monophonic. I like monophonic sounds. I mostly do monophonic sounds. That's how I roll. As you can see, there's a huge gain drop when you introduce resonance. That's weird to me. It's a digital synth. You should be able to get around that. Like, have compensation when you do resonance. I don't want it to behave like... I don't want it to behave like a classic analog synthesizer. I think that's a flaw in them. But it's a cool filter. There's a notch mode. You can, again, do the parameter pages. You can go here. You got standard and classic, and standard notch, classic notch. They basically, it goes low pass, band pass, high pass with a smooth morph, and the notch replaces the band pass in the middle. So let me demonstrate that. You do morph here. You can see your filter curve changing, and there's the notch in the middle. Quite cool. We'll do that again for the standard. And then bandpass. And overall, I think it sounds nice. It's a little polite, which is actually a problem for me. This thing should be rude. It has the capabilities to be rude. Let me be a rude boy. Classic filter. Again, I don't know what it's replicating. It might say it in the manual. I didn't read the manual. It's some classic filter. My first two guesses go to... 3 guesses are either Roland, Moog, or Oberheim. It's always one of those 3. Does it matter? I don't think so. But it sounds good. I like this filter. I'm happy with the sound of this filter, except the gain compensation, the resonance volume drop. But it's a good liquidy filter. Really about that life. So let's show you the oscillator mod mode. Now this is the most interesting part of the engine, I'd say. Basically you can introduce modulation to your oscillator between 1 and 2. It only affects oscillator 1. Oscillator 2 will stay dry. So here's phase mod. Cool, FM-like. Then you've got all other kinds of stuff. You've got ring mod. Which can be cool. You've got amplitude modulation similar to ring mod but without through zero harmonics. Hard sync. Does what it says on the tin. Windowed sync. See, oscillator 2 is unaffected. Oscillator 1. Shaper. The little subtle wave shaping. Inverter. There's some cool action in there. And then sync ring mod, which combines sync and ring mod, shockingly. Anyway, you get the idea. These are all fun ways to freak out the oscillator a bit more. I like the inverter and the phase mod the most personally. I think those do the job. Also have distortion. It's a good distortion. I like this distortion. I feel distorted. There's a master patch gain parameter that you can use to gain your patch, but the limiter will always be there. Please let us disable it. Let's check out the effects. First one is ping pong delay. It's a great delay. You heard it in my previous patch with those heavy resonant sort of comb-ish sweeps. I like the sound of everything in this synthesizer. It does not sound bad. However, it does sound polite. And here's what I mean by that. This is distortion. Okay. Let's put a really resonant peak. Like, if I turn distortion to the max, in my opinion, the sound should be completely broken. Like, the maximum setting should have the sound to be fucked where it sounds like a broken speaker. Here you have, this is an overdrive, so it's a bit polite. And if I'm being honest, I'm not a fan of that. I feel like between the limiter and this kind of stuff, this synthesizer is made to sound very pleasing and safe all the time. I like things that are a bit dangerous. And I like the sound of it. It does sound really good, so they should have the option to get fucked. Let me be freaky. I want to be freaky. But again, and with the freaky comment, this keyboard costs 666 euros. So if you're gonna reference Satan, let me bring Satan out in the engine. Come on. All right, let's try the chorus. I think all these effects are solid. Really nice sounding. If I push it, what's it gonna give me? Now we're into some cool flanging territory. Back to FX type again. Phaser. I like these effects. I think they sound great. We'll do it one more time. Oh, I have flanger on FX3. Sorry, we'll have FX2 be none. We'll do flanger on FX3. This is your flanger. Nice sounding flanger. We're gonna turn it off for now. We're gonna bring the chorus back here. And did you notice? So here, massive and chorus, you just drop like 5 dB. That's because of the limiter. That's why it should be able to be turned off. Now I'll try the reverb. Again, gain drop with the reverb. And it's a beautiful sounding reverb. But imagine you're playing a concert and you want to do something which I love to do. Like you have your sequence going. And then you're like, boom, I want to blast the crowd with reverb. And you do that, you mute the drums and you blast out the reverb, but your gain completely drops like it has right now. Like if you want to overwhelm and envelop the crowd and everything is exploding and they're just like this sudden pressure that they can't escape from, you can't do it with this machine because it will drop your gain. That's really distressing for me. Especially because this machine is so sort of crystalline and beautiful sounding. If you could throw a wall of sound at people and really disturb them in a live situation, it would be fantastic. As a studio piece, it doesn't matter because you can, of course, work that magic in elsewhere. Now let's get some sequencing going. One thing I need to note about this synthesizer is it has a sequencer built in that has memory separate from the patch memory. So you can, of course, save your sequences separately, but it automatically starts playing when you get MIDI clock start and stop. So keep that in mind because I experienced this awkwardness today that I just pressed play to get everything going and suddenly it was playing a sequence and I didn't want that. But I like the sound of this. Yeah. But again, it sounds really good. But watch, now I'll do the reverb. And I just put the reverb to max and it's completely gone from the mix because of the limiter. Turn that shit off. Like it should be in your face. I want to blow people's heads off. But I can't. What is going on, guys? Some extra LFO modulation on the filter. Yeah. And again, it sounds really, really good right now. But again, look, it's gone when I bring the reverb to max. That's really, really distressing. Because again, I don't think this is a bad synth. I think it's an awesome synth. Delay feedback at max. And the delay lets me get Rude Boy. Fully wet delay mix. Maybe there's a reverb gain issue that I'm not aware of. Because that sounds sick right there. See, look, I just tried to assign LFO2 to the delay time and it said invalid mod assignment. You could do that in the mod matrix, but I guess not through this front panel. That's weird. Why not? this delay mix is doing the effect I wanted with the reverb. I want that room to envelop the people in the audience so that they're like blown away and like the pressure's too much for them to handle. If this wasn't a huge PA, it would destroy right now. But I can't do it with the reverb. Why can't I do that with the reverb? Okay, I guess it was the size setting. I take it all back. But see, that's the part of the reviews. We're figuring this out in real time. Now let me see if I bring the delay mix down. Let's see. Let's hear without the drums. No, the reverb? The reverb is still quiet. So, okay, I don't take it all back. You see what I mean? This is weird. It shouldn't be like this. Look how loud that is. Now give me that on the reverb. No setting. Turn dampening all the way off. There's still a huge gain drop. I take it all back. Again, there's something with that. It's not cool. Listen to how loud that delay is. Now let's have some fun. Let's try out the lo-fi effect. Bit rate reduction, bit crushing. This is the kind of the meanest this synthesizer will get. And it sounds good, but again, it's quite polite. Like, I feel like that sample rate reduction needs to go a bit farther. The bit crush does what it does, but the limiter's killing, because usually when you crank a bit crusher, the gain soars out of control. I have it happen live a lot. Or you can bring noise in, cool. I like the addition of noise, but still, let's not be so polite, guys. Let's change wave tools. Yeah, some glide. Change the oscillator modulation mode. Again, phase mod is the one for me. Yeah. Argon 8. So that was really fun. I think the Modal is a cool synth, but it's stymied by the limiter, which I think is a huge problem. Please turn that off, or give the option to turn it off at the very least. I love the sound of the engine. I think it sounds beautiful. The effects are cool. The features are cool. Some of the features like the shapers and all just don't seem drastic enough. I feel like things should just be a little more extreme overall. Like if I want to crank the distortion to max, it should really sound like a distortion crank to max and not like an overdrive. It should sound fucked. And it doesn't go that distance that I need it to go. But for the price point, I think it's a pretty good deal. It's built well, it sounds great, and for people who want maybe more musical sounds, it'll be the one. Now, if you go a bit higher in the price bracket, there's the Hydra synth for a few $100 more, which goes way further sound-wise. But this is not comparable to that. This is more a competitor to the Mod Wave or the Minilog XD, which hopefully I'll get to review sometime soon. So overall, I think it's cool. The patches you heard today will be included in the sample set, and of course there will be samples too. Buy my new shirts, subscribe to Patreon, smash like and subscribe here. It would be awesome. And there's going to be some affiliate links at the bottom if you want to buy your own Argon 8. Peace out.